Okay, I have hit the timer button. Yeah, sorry, my face is a little cut up. I had a dull razor, and I just kept using it anyway, and it really wasn't a good idea. So, I'm a little, stranger looking than usual. Anyway, conference report guy doing a response video on this subject of, I don't even know what it is the subject of, selfishness, selflessness, and such. And so he's got a second channel now. I won't post a link to it, because he doesn't want people to subscribe to it. But I think I want to subscribe to it because, yeah, I'm going to try to talk with him, and so I should probably subscribe to it so I hear the bullshit, and then he can refine the shit to put on his other channel. So that's his plan. I don't know about my plan. I do have the Amendum channel. I can post a link to that just so people understand. This is where I do most of my videos, but I'll do the better videos. Hopefully they're better on the Amendum channel, but it probably won't work out that way anyway, so fuck it. Who knows? I have no idea what I want to do or what I'm doing. Alright, anyway, on this whole selfless thing, the last 3 or 4 of your videos, I was kind of thinking you're going in the wrong direction, and then in the last one I heard you sort of went back in the right direction again, where this is really going to be something that you're not going to be able to feel your way through. You're not going to be able to say, empathy thing. It's not going to be the, I have to feel it before I can act on it kind of thing, even though I think ultimately you have to create a feeling for there to be action. For a human being to act, he's got to create a feeling, and he has to play a mind game to do that. So we sort of do that. We screw around with context, what our brain sees, to make ourselves feel something. It's kind of like, to use a religious metaphor, the Jesus blood thing. Thinking of the wine as blood, and therefore this creates a context of appreciation and all this other crap, because the person has created an image in the head that makes it mean something. And so we have to sort of do that. We have to play that game with ourselves and understand our prejudices and our preferences, and avoid allowing these emotional things decide what the definition of productive behavior is. And there's really no way to win, I don't think. There's no, even if you can write productivity and write a perfect theory of living a productive life, it's very hard to live it, because you have to turn this into something that this selfish animal is going to want to be interested in. And it's really hard to make us interested in it, because in a way, especially in a world as fucked up as this one, there's lots of grenades to jump on. And so the selfish person is going to say, I don't want to jump on a grenade. But they're all out there. You could sacrifice yourself in so many ways for the cause and do good. There's lots of ways to risk yourself in the name of doing productive work, sacrificing yourselves to the cause. There's lots of causes that need you to sacrifice. You can almost argue, if you reverse the roles, like say if the crazy Muslims, if we, the Islams, if they were the good guys, we would see that, oh yes, to do the good deed, you have to fly the plane into the building and harm the American, by blowing up their penis or whatever. And, if you want to use real metaphors, that's sort of, you can get the idea that the really good, a good soldier is one who takes out as many of the enemy as possible, and is willing to sacrifice himself to the cause. And that's being the better human being, the best human being you can be. Is not going to be a human being that's going to make you real happy, I don't think. You're not going to get a whole lot out of it personally, because you're going to understand that the ball game is bigger than you. That's just the way it is. Your desire is not the only desire in the world that needs taken care of, that needs to be satisfied. And it's just a simple fact. It's not a complicated fact. It's a dirt simple one. Really, right there in front of us. And yeah, we as people ignore it. We play a game that doesn't exist because we say, no, I love my cat. I don't love all cats. I love my kids. I don't love all kids. And we play this stupid game like love is the important word, and it's not. Or empathy is the important word, and it's not. Because those aren't the roads to being productive. That's not where the game is. It's just that simple. And we can keep pretending it's this individual desire thing, is everybody for themselves, and that's sort of, anything short of doing what the objective, perfect statement says is the obligation. Anything less than that is just being compromised by your subjective, selfish self-interest and your unwillingness to you know, put the complete context on top of it and see it for exactly what it is. And we can do it to every bit of our lives. Our lives are full of just complete other crap and nonsense. What we're involved with, what gets us horny, what gets us motivated, is all bullshit, and every bit of it can be torn to shreds with just a little bit of work. I mean, how hard is it to make, today's the Super Bowl. How hard is it to make that sound or seem like the stupidest goddamn thing in the universe for people to be doing? I mean, to look at it from your position, objectively, detached from it. It's a silliness. It's just preposterous waste of resources. Watching you grown men, chase a football back and forth on a field for a meaningless victory that means nothing, that proves nothing, that demonstrates nothing, but how much time people will waste engineering themselves into the perfect ball player. They're not the perfect cancer curer. No, they're a ball player. I mean, it's just ludicrously stupid. Like, we should be having a Super Bowl for stupid people who can play football. No, we should have one for people who can, come up with some equation to solve the, universal energy quotient question or some other kind of bullshit. Finish Einstein's work. Let's have a Super Bowl for that. No, we have Super Bowl for, ball skills. So, we can, like I said, we can just tear life to pieces if we're really going to be intellectual, if we're really going to be brains, intelligence, like I said, the ball game is over. Now we got the evolution thing figured out and some of this physics figured out, and we know what human psychology is, and we're done. This is done. We're cooked. Because now we can just turn ourselves contextually into the silly, dopey, cruddy little beasties that we are. This selfish little horny beasts. And it's all about this desire that's just injected into us through biology. It's not injected by intellect. Intellect doesn't say, yes, you're going to have a refined desire for blah, 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 blah. No, the desire exists, and we do our best to try to create a context that makes it mean something. But it's all subjective, and it's either a product of your nature, your biology, or your conditioning. But it's still that. It's still, the motivation is coming from some crude source, not the elegant source. It isn't the brain that's saying, you must live, you must do this life thing, you must chase the cheese, you must play the game. No, the desire isn't coming from there. And all the intellect can do is say, this is the more sensible plan for your life. This is how you become productive. Follow these instructions. And the simple truth is those instructions are going to be very unsatisfying. They're not going to be very gratifying. But they will be productive. You will be productive. You will do the best with the machine that you are. You have the hope of achieving perfect efficiency for your circumstances by reading those instructions and not by paying any attention to what you feel, because it's every likelihood that what you feel is bullshit. What you care about is bullshit. That's the truth of it. The subjective is just like I said, your circle of caring is bullshit. It has nothing to do with the real value. It has nothing to do with real need. It has nothing to do with real efficiency. It has nothing to do with any of the word productivity. It has nothing to do with the words that really matter. It has everything to do with the words that have no meaning and are bullshit. Love and hate and all that kind of crap. It doesn't mean a goddamn thing. That we should try to eradicate in ourselves whenever possible. But we have to concede that the only way the human animal can play the game is you have to give it food. You have to feed it emotionally. And so that's the doom here, is that we're never going to be able to live up to the reasonable expectations. Not reasonable. The demands of real productivity, let's put it that way. We're never going to be able to meet up to those demands because the selfish beast needs too much feeding. It needs too much of the love crap and all the emotional crap and all that shit. It just can't live the Mr. Spock life. And even Mr. Spock didn't live the Mr. Spock life. I mean, the whole idea was a lie anyway. Because if there was such a thing as a Mr. Spock civilization, it would die out for the mere purpose that it would see no mission. It would just say, well, the humans are impossible to deal with. They're never going to be educatable. There's nothing. We can't accomplish anything. It'll blow them all up because they're all assholes. I mean, they're going to crash into the same dilemma. And the dilemma is our roots. The dilemma is the bastard source of this life engine in the first place. It is consumption and reproduction. It has no mission. It has nothing to accomplish. It creates a mess and then contrives an excuse to clean up half of it. And that's what it is. We contrive excuses to clean up half of it. I'm a human. I want. I have personal preferences and desires that I must act on. And so therefore I can only clean up half the mess. But that's what we're living with. We can't even be good janitors for our own slop, the slop we created. So anyway, yeah, I think we're making progress. I think, yeah.